Sanjay, welcome to the show. Do you want to introduce yourself, give us a bit of your background and how you've got to where you are today?
Yes. First of all, thank you so much for having me. My name is Sanjay Jenkins. I am kind of the head of growth over at Replo. Replo is a landing page solution for e-commerce brands. And kind of how I got here, in high school, I was like, let me figure out how to make money on the internet, as many enterprising high schoolers do. Heard about this thing called like digital marketing and e-commerce, and kind of just built my career around it. Right behind me, which if you're listening on the audio, you won't see this, but I've got like I had a subscription business, toys and treats for cats and dogs in college,
Okay.
which I ended up selling to my university at the end of our tenure there, and then just kind of meandered. I've sold everything from women's shapewear to built a 9-figure soap company that wasn't Dr. Squatch, which a lot of people, that's like a natural follow-up, but it was a different 9-figure soap company. Did that in 14 months. And now I help people grow their e-commerce businesses by, sending all the traffic that they work so hard to get to better converting pages and websites.
Awesome. That sounds amazing. Well, firstly, 9 figures in 14 months?
Yeah. So the advantage that we had was we started scaling this business at right before COVID happened. So it was like January of 2020, and we put all the pieces together, migrate from WooCommerce over to Shopify. I did that in 2 days. I didn't sleep. I literally was like, my blood was Red Bull after like 24 hours.
I mean, what size were you at that stage when you went, right, I'm going to migrate to Shopify?
It had done 280K top line. So pretty small. And then one of the advantages that we had was we were starting to franchise pretty aggressively. So it was the primary methodology of growing that business was through physical retail, where we franchise locations. We use digital marketing to get franchisees. So we got some of the largest franchisees from other systems. So like the number one Planet Fitness franchisee, the number one like tanning franchise operator, like they came into our system, and we used ads to get them, which was pretty cool. But we scaled that, and then built an incredible e-commerce business. I actually ran e-commerce, so the digital marketing stuff, did the e-commerce internally, built a customer service team for the Ecom division specifically. So the stick of the brand was all the products you see in a store is made in that very store by hand. And for Ecom, I had a facility here. I live in Dallas, Texas. I had a facility here in Dallas, Texas, where we made thousands of bars of soap and bath bombs every single day, and shipped it out ourselves. We did in-house production, in-house fulfillment. So ran a soap factory is what I like to call it. And we had the. I mean, everyone wanted to be clean during COVID, so that was a huge advantage that we had. And stars aligned, and we just absolutely ripped it.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, I mean, obviously over here, I don't know what it was like over there, but yeah, here there was very much I wouldn't be able to tell you what the exact thing was. There was always like a little like rhyme to it. Do this thing, this thing, this thing. But essentially it was like wash your hands for like 20 seconds, then like use soap, rub your hands with soap for 20 seconds and then wash again with hot water for 20 seconds. It was something like that. So there was such a big focus on.
I'm forgetting there was a specific song that we had. I'm so ashamed right now because I forget the song that we had. But yeah, there was Bill Nye the Science Guy was like a big proponent of this. And I made a bunch of ads myself where I was in my little rinky-dink apartment bathroom, just telling people to wash their hands. And then the nice thing is like we had like really visually striking bars of soap, so they had these really bright colors and like these really cool swirls. So we had a ton of creative that was just like it just looked cool. So people needed to wash their hands. We gave them like a cool way to do that. It was we made that experience fun for folks. So it was great.
Awesome. And so why the switch away from e-commerce and selling stuff to the SaaS side?
Yeah. So, I mean, the nice thing is like, I still serve like ecom. So I still feel like I'm really deeply entrenched in e-commerce. And so much so to where like outside of what I do during the day at Replo, like I do consulting and like I'm in ad accounts, I'm building pages for people because I want to stay sharp. I think if I'm going to sell to this community, to these people, I should have like, this is just my personal opinion on the matter, but like, I think I should be proficient. But the real answer is like, it was something I always wanted to do. I always wanted to be in SaaS. I always wanted to kind of try my hand at it and prove to myself that I could do it. And I feel like, I'm coming up on 3 years at Replo. I feel like I've proven that to myself, and I'm really proud of that. And what's funny about that is like I feel like we're just hitting our stride. Like we're just getting started. But yeah, it was just something on the list of challenges that I wanted to take upon myself, and that's how I got here.
Yeah, I mean, makes sense. So, what at the moment, like, what are you excited about?
Yeah. Okay, so what I'm excited about more than anything is so we're like I'm in the heart of the AI boom or whatever, like or the beginning of this massive boom where everything changes. And I think what I'm most excited about,
like, middle of the bubble. If you
yeah, but
listen
yeah,
to
that's
what
also
people are
the other
talking
thing.
about.
Like maybe we're like it's 1999, like I don't know. Um, but what I'm really excited about is there's a lot of technology, and this is kind of how our philosophy at Replo too is like there's a lot of technology that allows more people to kind of do things that they couldn't do before. So on the base level, like maybe you didn't know how to start an e-commerce business, and now you can go to ChatGPT and like figure that out. All the way to like on the advanced side, like there are operators that for us again, kind of like contextualizing to what we do a little bit, but they wanted to do CRO, for example, but they just didn't know what good CRO looks like, what tests to run, and how to build pages. And now we can kind of like provide all of that knowledge and kind of like create the end result where they make more money like really quickly. So to kind of put it in like one thing, what I'm most excited about is there are more people than ever that you kind of like unlock these new skills much faster. And I'm really energized to like kind of enable more people to do really awesome work and be closer to revenue than ever before.
Do you think there's almost like a downside to this as well? And as you were talking, like there was an example that I was trying to think of, but it's like everyone can,
Yeah.
but like, should everyone be doing this? I
Yeah.
suppose is the question. Like, it's so easy to source some product, get a website done like really easily and pretty cheaply now. So yes,
Yeah.
the barrier of entry is so low, but are we seeing? I guess that the main issue is probably, are we seeing a lot of people still waste a load of money because
Yeah.
even though it's really easy to do this, they shouldn't. Like,
Yeah. And the example that I'll use is there are too many mushroom coffee companies out in the world.
yeah,
I don't know if you've tried any of them. There's like one or two standouts, but like the fact that there are like, I don't know, probably thousands at this point, and half of them probably use our product, which I love. I'm grateful for them, but it's just like that's one of those things where the market can only take so much, and I think what we'll see is we'll see like this and like a mass culling, like the competition's getting more competitive because there's only so many people that are in the market for certain types of products or businesses or services or what have you, and like the the bar to entry is lower, but the bar to be great, I mean, I think it's still like really high. And I think
yeah,
what's really great about this is like if you dedicate yourself to like using these tools effectively and like learn and like still learning, I think that's the thing is like a lot of people kind of offload their thinking to AI, which in my opinion is wrong. But if you like use it as one of the tools in your arsenal, you continue to like study, you actually care about the craft, you're able to go much higher, much faster. That's exciting. But yeah, I mean, I think most people, just because you can doesn't mean you should. My hope is that over time, we actually get like people that are committed to building better products and like products that could not exist before, or there wasn't like a viable way to like get growth to a certain point where it's a sustainable business. Like I want to see more of that, but I do think we're going to see like a big like culling of like the real like trash brands or trash products. It's my hope.
yeah, and I think, yeah, I mean, I think it'll be, obviously there'll be some bad products out there that probably
Yeah.
don't do well and disappear, but it'll probably be those brands who they're not trying to be a brand. They're
Mm-hmm.
trying to just sell some product, and uh, I suppose they're the brands that will always get stuck in this acquisition chase,
Right.
right? Because they're
Like
not getting a really good experience.
the arbitrage, like, I wish I'd picked up ads 2 years before I actually did. I think if I had started running ads in 2016 instead of 2018. And even then, like I feel like I was early in a way in 2018. But if I had started running like Meta ads, like Facebook ads in 2016, I probably would have a Lamborghini right now. And like the arbitrage is just not there for 98% of companies like it used to be. And so it's just much more competitive. I mean, and this might be a hot take. Like I do think there are a lot of operators that get a little lazy because they think they can, Meta is like this magical box that's going to like make them millions automatically, and they don't actually put in the work to make it so. But yeah, the arbitrage just isn't there. So yes, it is easier than ever to start. It's harder than ever to scale. On the surface, I think it's just it's a function of effort, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So what do you think, where do you see the big opportunities at the moment for brands there?
Yeah.
I think everyone talks about how ROAS is getting worse. It's like cost of
Mm-hmm.
acquisition generally, it's always going to keep going up. That is
Right.
It's a fact. You might have little dips, a bit like a stock market. You might have those little dips, but it's generally just going to keep going up for a variety of factors. So what are those big kind of what are the opportunities right now to really get some good growth in place?
Yeah. So on the digital side, I'll talk about the digital and then some of the offline stuff. That I think these are like two big areas of opportunity. So on the digital side, everyone's spending all this time, energy, and money like optimizing their traffic, getting better ad results, making more ads, trying to be zig and zagging and doing all the and organic content kind of factors into this as well. And so the thing that I think people often overlook, and this comes up in a lot of the day-to-day conversations that I have. They overlook the fact that like you can do all this work, spend all this money to get this traffic, but if you're sending them to a suboptimal place, like you're not thinking about what funnel, like what you're not being empathetic to look what the buyer actually wants or needs. You're not going to get like the outlier results. So there's a ton of opportunity in just CRO stuff in general, which I'm really excited about. Obviously, that's like what our business is built on. On the content side, on still kind of remaining on the digital side, I think because of this kind of over reliance on ads, people have not thought about organic content effectively. But because of the TikTok algorithm, the Instagram like Reels algorithm, like there's and YouTube Shorts, something I'm really bullish on personally. There's like so much value in video, in founders being in videos, in people that run the business day to day being in videos, and pushing that as like organic content that people like viewers resonate with. And the brands that I see growing the fastest, they're very, very good on the paid side. But the ones that have like true like lightning bolt success is they just really care about making great organic content, and the algorithms are rewarding people. So it's like my thing is like, if you're spending all this energy doing like all this paid ad stuff, invest in doing organic content because the algorithms want more content. And my opinion is, and this is true for B2B as well, if you prioritize doing video content now, in a couple of years, if people get familiar with seeing your face, you're going to be a personality, and you have like a decent personality. That's also another kind of person.
Yeah.
But like you are going to be like a known entity in like 2 years, and that compounds, and that's like something you can kind of ride forever. That's always been true. Like before, it used to be like movies, and then it was TV, and now it's like YouTube is like a big thing. So there's a ton of compounding like value in being on video that I think people still aren't grasping, like brand operators aren't grasping to the level that I wish they would. So that's like a huge opportunity there. And I'm happy to transition to the offline stuff, but if you want to pull on any strings there.
Yeah, I've just got a couple of points there. So, so firstly, I think on the, you mentioned like personality and stuff. I think, you've got to have a bit of personality, but I think that this sort of personality where you're just happy to get on video.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think every brand needs to be this super charismatic,
sure,
flamboyant person who brings loads of energy to it.
Yeah,
obviously those are going to do quite well if you get the video right. But one example that came to mind is there's a guy on TikTok who's I think his TikTok handle is like tinned fish reviews.
I love this guy.
You know the guy with the beard,
I watch him all the time when
right?
he's got his dog sitting there.
He's got his
I know
dog,
this guy.
right?
Yeah,
He's not the most charismatic person, but
yeah,
he does good, really, really simple videos.
yes,
Showing off tin fish, eating it, giving it to his dog,
yeah,
and he gets, I don't know, couple of 100,000 likes
yeah,
on each video. He's probably getting millions of views a month on these
yes,
videos. So yeah, I think the first one is, yeah, when you say personality, you've got to figure out what content is going to work for your personality,
sure, exactly.
and try and make something work. And the other point was, you said invest in organic content, and I think one of the biggest barriers to entry on this is, I think people feel that either you've got to spend a lot of money putting video content together, or you've got to invest a lot of time.
Yeah,
Right. And I think on the time side it's true, but on the investing cash on producing video, like, what are your thoughts on that? Does it require
yeah.
a significant investment to put that content together, or can you get away with, some fairly basic, basic cameras, iPhones, that sort of thing?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you have a modern smartphone, I'm biased to iPhone. I'm an Apple stan. Truthfully, everything I own is Apple. But like, if you have like a modern smartphone, it's got an incredible camera. The audio's generally pretty good. You get some headphones, whatever. Like, you don't even need that. Like, if you just have your phone, you can get by with it. I think the invest piece is not so much a money investment; it's a commitment to putting stuff out on a consistent basis. And it doesn't have to be like this big production. One of the things, so this is like a true challenge that I had for myself was like, okay, like I do these like podcast videos, I do like, webinars, and I do, screen shares where I like talk about stuff. But yesterday as a challenge, I was like, okay, like in between meetings, I'll just like open up TikTok. I challenge myself, okay, I'm going to make a video in the 5 minutes that I would normally just like scroll through TikTok. I'm going to make something in there and then post it. So it's like very minimal editing. It's usually just like me saying something. I'll maybe trim some like, ums and ahs and some blank spaces in between, add some captions, which all of these like video apps, like they can do directly. Like, and then I posted like 6 or 7 videos yesterday on my personal TikTok just to see if I could do that. And that's like often all that's required. So it's like the investment does not have to be money. It's committing to the process of doing it. And then to kind of, go back to the Tin Fish Man, on the personality, like his personality is he loves tin fish. He's passionate about tin fish, and he's going to do that even if he didn't have a camera on it. He just happens to like, do this. He's got that fun little hat that he wears, and the personality is his passion about tin fish. And that's why those videos do well. Like if you are building a brand, a business, whatever, like if you care about the thing that you are working on day in and day out, and you kind of translate that passion into something, that's actually what's going to do better than like you trying to do fancy edits or investing in a bunch of different, cameras or whatever. Like that stuff doesn't matter. Just have the passion for whatever it is you're talking about. I will personally say the influence that Tin Fish Man has had on my tin fish intake is like through the roof. Much to the dismay of my fiance. She's like, why are you so upset? Every time I go to the grocery store, and I usually go by myself now because I'm like sneaking in the twin fish aisle, but it's all because of that guy.
So I don't live that far from Borough Market in London.
Nice.
And there's some places there where you can get some pretty good stuff. There's actually there's definitely a Spanish shop which does quite a lot, and there might be a Portuguese as well, because I think it's the Portuguese who do loads and loads of generally tin fish, but I think sardines are a big thing.
Yes,
I think
sardines are great, and it's one of those things. Like I grew up, I'm Indian. Like it's something that was common in our household. My mom would do all sorts of things with tin fish, so it was like familiar to me in some way. But
okay,
I probably haven't so my mom hasn't cooked that in, I don't know, 5-6 years. So I really haven't. It's not like I was terribly exposed to it outside of this, but I started watching his videos, and that's things like I really resonate with people that like love stuff. Like I'm just happy to share in someone else's joy. And that has influenced my budgets on groceries very
Yeah.
very directly.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed his videos. But I'm a big dog person as well, so I think
Yeah,
as soon as I noticed he had a quite a cute dog in there as well, I was
yeah,
like, yeah, okay, I got to watch these because I have to
yeah.
know that that dog gets some of that
Yes,
fish.
yes, always does.
Yeah, loves it. Awesome. So we covered opportunities. So yeah, organic social in
Hmm.
particular, a big one. Or sorry, organic. Yeah, organic video on social, a big one. What about the challenges? What do you see are the
Yeah,
challenges at the moment that brands are facing? Because I thought at the start of this year, or like end of 24, start of 25, I felt like there was a lot of doom and gloom messaging. Like this
hmm,
was going to be the worst, toughest year for e-commerce. I don't feel like I've really seen that,
yeah,
and it's either because people are just sucking it up and getting on with it,
sure,
and maybe not talking about it as much, or it's not actually been that bad.
sure,
But of course, there are always challenges. So
yeah,
apart from things like tariffs, which I think this is quite a
hmm,
situational thing. It will go up one day, down another. Yeah, you've got to deal with that. What are those more, I think, general challenges that you're seeing brands
yeah.
facing?
I mean, I think like this actually ties into like my offline opportunities thing too. But like the
Oh
challenge
yeah,
is
sorry,
like
you were
no,
gonna
you don't have to pause
you were
it.
gonna
It's a
talk about
perfect
that.
segue. It's a perfect connection actually. So like reality, like at least in the United States, the economy is strained. The average consumer is facing a lot of challenges. Like there's a ton of consideration on how much money people have, like availability of resources, these sorts of things, and it's a real thing. And so that does downstream affect people that sell stuff, right? So you don't get, if it was a true luxury that people had and when things were great, like maybe they are going to start cutting things. So it's going to affect different brands in different ways. But the opportunity here is, you have to remember that we're building businesses, and the optimizations that we can do on digital marketing, on the funnel, on the ads, the landing pages, etc., like that's all great, but that's only as good, like the upper limit on the value of those optimizations, or the constraint on the value of those optimizations, is how good of a business you're on the back end. Like what are your margins? Are you like overspending on like software that you don't need? Are you spending on or like are your margins like not great because you've never negotiated with your suppliers? Like there's a ton of like opportunities you can find in your balance sheet, in your P&L, that businesses kind of only look at like maybe on a quarterly level or on an annual level, or sometimes, and this is kind of alarming that this is more common than it is, or that it ought to be. But like some brands just never really bother to do the business optimization stuff. They don't think about improving their supply chain. They don't think about reducing cost and packaging. Maybe you don't need a branded shipper. It doesn't actually like create the lift that you think it does, and you can ship in a cheaper box. Like there's so many things that happen, and I think the only reason why I kind of default to thinking in this way is because we did in-house production and fulfillment. So I had to look at it every single day, like physically look at the stuff. When you have like a 3PL, it's sort of, and you have like a manufacturer that ships directly to 3PL, you kind of get
Yeah,
removed from that visually, like physically.
once you've kind of placed the order with those
Yeah.
guys and said, "Cool, we're going to work with you. You deal with the fulfillment. You manufacture. You
Yes.
deal with fulfillment." It's like, well, that's done. I don't have to worry about that
Hmm.
again. And they've probably talked you through some of the volume discounts that you will
Sure.
get. But yeah, I suppose what people don't think about is you might look back on that contract and say, well, okay, well, we're doing 10,000 units an order. To get our next discount, we have to be at 25,000 units per
Hmm.
order. But if you've placed that 10,000 unit order on a regular basis, you probably can go back to them and say, look, we've been a regular customer. We've
Yeah.
placed, 500,000 units worth
Right. We're
over
good
the
for it.
time.
Yeah.
Can we order more less units but more frequently? Could you
Hmm.
help? Can you lower that fee? And I think you probably end up with a lot of companies who do say, yeah, absolutely fine. We can sort a new rate for you.
Yep.
whatever. And that's the sort of thing where I think, I've been talking about price testing a lot recently.
Mm-hmm.
And I keep saying to people, when I'm talking about price testing, I'm not talking about let's increase the price by 25% and see how that impacts things, because your conversion rate is going to drop and people will notice. What I'm talking about is 1%, maybe 2, maybe 3, but like a small increase that isn't really going to change someone's opinion. If this product's $35 or $38, that's not going to make too much difference to someone. And obviously the initial thought to that is, yeah, but what's 1 or 2% going to do for us? That's $3 extra. That's nothing.
Yeah.
But if you're doing 10,000 orders a month, that's suddenly a lot of money. That's straight to your bottom line and helping with that. And the same is going to apply on the ordering side.
Yeah.
If you drop your cost per unit by 20 cents across 10,000 units, that's a decent chunk of change that you're now saving.
You change your margin profile, all of a sudden you have different targets that you have to hit to, your ROAS target, your aimer target's like completely different. And that's the thing, is like the stuff that you do on the back end, like the business stuff, the nitty gritty spreadsheet work that no one really wants to do, which you should use AI for, like have AI help you do this, like upload some stuff into Grok or GPT and have it like analyze it with you. But like the margin that you save, or like the increase in margin that you get, that can directly impact the targets that you have to hit to be profitable on the acquisition side. And then all of a sudden, like, you do enough of that, like, and you do the price testing, and you do better offers, and you do better conversion rate. Like you've built a completely different business that's much more sustainable. It's much more scalable. It's much more valuable from an enterprise value perspective, if you ever want to like sell this thing. And like, it's very boring work. It's like eating your vegetables. You don't really want to do it. You'd rather have the steak, but like that's the stuff that allows you to enjoy, growth without having so much of the, the competition and the pressure and like all the doom and gloom stuff that is real. It is coming from a real place, but it's like, you don't have to subject yourself to that if you work on building a great business and not just a great like marketing arbitrage machine.
Yeah, I think this is why I think CRO doesn't get as much attention as it should really. Everyone is super excited about the next ad format, the next ad channel, where are we going to get these customers from? And I kind of get it, because if you've got an ad budget of, well, even 50,000 a month, it's probably your biggest spend.
Yep.
A lot of brands are going to be way above that, million a month. Right. Yep. So of course, I think when you're spending that money, you're going to be thinking, well, am I going to get better return on that with the new ad format, which is pretty easy for us to put together? Whereas these little optimizations, and I think there's this feeling that, if we get 2% conversion rate here, or 1.5% here, it's not that exciting.
Yeah.
But when it all adds together, and adds up, it does make a big difference, especially when you're then looking at, the margin on your product. Imagine being a subscription business that's got really good repeat customer base, acquiring customers fairly well, but at a loss. Imagine just being able to go to your supplier, go to your manufacturer, go to your 3PL, negotiate your rates slightly, maybe do some little tweaking on pricing or the offer or the landing page, and suddenly you're acquiring at maybe break even or profitably.
Yep.
And so every second purchase is just profit.
Yep. I'll give you a subscription example, and then on like the importance of optimizing your supply chain, like a great like 9-figure case study that everyone loves to tout. I'll start with the 9-figure case study thing. Most people that work in this industry are familiar with True Classic Teas. They've heard of True Classic Teas. Amazing story. They went from 0 to 9 figures, a couple $100 million a year in like a year or two, like insane growth, right? Yeah. They started it with $23,000. Like all of that is true. But what it was not publicly discussed to the degree that I wish it was. So this is public information, but it's just not like commonly talked about or known, is that one of the advantages that True Classic Teas had when they first started, and this is supplier relations, there's a host of things I won't go into on how they kind of got this, but They got a deal where it was like basically 6 months where they didn't have to pay for the inventory. So yeah, they were able to place like this initial order, but they didn't have to pay for that order for 6 months, which means that if they could figure out like a really, like, even if they were like hardcore, like like maybe unprofitable even acquiring that first customer, but they knew that if they got people into this entry offer, that they were going to come back in 60 days and order again. Like that's 2 cycles of people like repurchasing, that then become like pure margin. Like they've acquired this customer, maybe it was unprofitable on the front end, but that was only possible because they had this supplier relation that gave them the ability to scale so aggressively. The reason why they were able to speed run is because of the supply chain optimization that they had, and obviously really great marketing. The comedy stuff, they're pioneers in that, and that's good. But that came after having a really like great like business foundation that was like their supply chain optimization. The second story that I have is from a mentor of mine. He ran, or I think still does, run kind of acquisition for a very, very large coffee brand. I think they're like the 8th largest shipper of coffee in the world. That's how big this company is, and they're subscription only. And they realized that customers would stick around for 16 months. And so, and they were trying to, and it was like a $10 or $20 a month subscription on the front end. So they're like, that was really hard, even when they were doing this in 2017 or 2018. Like it was still hard to acquire customers to buy a coffee subscription back then. But they realized, we can actually, instead of having to spend $50, we can actually spend $150 to acquire a customer. So that target goes up because we know the LTV exists. They had enough data, and part of the, they took them a few years to get to this point. But once they realized that, then they were able to kind of like beat everybody else in the auction. They're acquiring a subscriber for $150. No one else is able to acquire this, but they know they're going to be profitable because they have great retention. They built like a great backend business on a subscription optimization stuff. And that allowed them to go from, being a $10 million a year to a $100 million a year company very quickly because, no one else could compete at that customer acquisition target. And so like, and all of these pieces, they had to move production in-house. They had to fulfill in-house. Like that's a lot of other things kind of went into being able to pull this off. They had to get external investors to kind of support this, but they had a business case for it. And they were able to build a business bigger than most coffee brands, and especially subscription-only coffee brands, really ever could, because they did all the fundamental work.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, it's such a, it's not really discussed, is it? It's just, like you said, it's not the sexy stuff. It's not the fun, exciting stuff. Unless you're a bit of a, I guess, a bit of a nerd like me. I actually, that's the sort of stuff that I love looking into. Like, where can we just make this little improvement here and there?
There's a product I'm working on right now where I wasn't the person that actually executed this work, but we took over an account a couple months ago that was converting at like 1.75% conversion rates north of 3.5 on a daily basis now. And we were getting that traffic anyway. We were paying for it anyway, but like it's completely changed the ability for us to scale. It's changed our the entire business is a completely different business than it was 60 days ago, because that's an optimization that we were able to do on the funnel, on how we present products, how we frame offer messaging, etc. But you're spending all this money to get all this traffic, and being able to convert, double twice the number of people, like that also adds a lot of value to your business. So it's like, it's you have to do 1,000 different optimizations. But once you do those things, like you have a dramatically different business, and you get to be the biggest person in the game.
Yeah, and like you see, when you get to that, double your conversion rates, you're acquiring twice as many people. You can either say, well, our cost of acquisition has dropped. We're happy with that. We're just, we'll grow with that. Or you could do what the coffee guys did and say, well, now we could double our spend. Yeah, we can afford to spend. We were good and profitable at, I don't know, a $50 acquisition, but we're now at 25. So maybe we can spend 75, 100.
Yeah.
Because, now the numbers are working for us, and actually with a couple of repurchases. But obviously you have to be so sure on that repurchase data. And so for one-off purchase brands, that's going to be one-up. By that I mean like non-subscription focused brands. Right. More difficult, more risky.
Yeah.
But the data will be there. But yeah, I remember someone, I think it was Valentin. I wouldn't want to try his surname. It starts with a K. I think it was him who talked about the fact that loads of brands talk about, we know our LTV, and therefore, we can acquire at this cost because we'll make it back over time.
Right.
And these guys were looking at LTVs over like 12 months. I was like, well, is that really? Essentially,
they're like multiplying. Most people just multiply that first purchase by 12. They just assume that they're going to be around, and you're not.
I think, it was essentially like you're a 12-month-old company.
Yeah,
you can't possibly know what your LTV is.
Yeah,
right, and the fact that you've got to 12 months doesn't mean you've got a 12-month LTV. But there's a lot of, I think, guesswork, and it's where like benchmarks become quite dangerous as well.
Yeah.
People look at, what should a subscription coffee company be doing as an LTV? And it says, oh, well, these companies do 18 months. These companies do 24 months, whatever. And so you say, well, okay, cool. I can afford to spend as if I've got 18 months of this person.
Yeah. And you also have to like layer in in those forecasts that you build, like how many purchases like is that? And how often are they making that purchase? Is it so subscription, right? Like they're going to stick, in theory, you're going to get paid every single month until they churn. But if you have something that is more one-off, like, apparel company, like maybe you're going to have seasonal spikes. You're going to get, an order every quarter or something like that. Like that has to be kind of layered into how you build those forecasts. It's tough. I will say it's one of the hardest things, especially if you don't have like, a couple of years of data behind you, if you're trying to do this. And I mean, my kind of philosophy is if you don't have that data, like try to build as much profit into that first order as you can. And then like, year 2, year 3, you can start to kind of play with what your acquisition targets actually have to be to sustain, because you have a base, presumably some of those people, return and purchase. And you just have like more data on to make like informed decisions on how to get more people to buy on a consistent basis. But yeah, it's tough in those early days.
Be a bit more conservative early, and then start to push the numbers a bit. Just on the kind of optimization, like almost like the back end optimization piece. I just thought of an example actually. There's a brand called Heights in the UK. I think they're UK only. Maybe
is there a blue logo?
Yes.
Yeah, I think
Heights is in blue. It's a. I don't think they'd want me to say this. I think it's a multivitamin.
Okay.
I think it's probably not how you describe it, but it's a supplement. It's a multi-purpose supplement. They sell it in. You have to buy 3 months at a time.
Mm-hmm.
So your subscription covers 3 months, and I think there's 2 really good benefits to that. Firstly, they ship out 3 months of product at once.
Mm-hmm.
So they've only got to ship once per order instead of 3 times.
Yes.
So there's fulfillment, there's packaging costs involved in that. The second part is when you receive your 3 months, you're probably going to use 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Unless for some reason you really don't like it. And let's be honest, it's a tablet. You don't know, right? You don't really have an opinion on whether it's good or bad because it's not really something you notice that much. So that means by the end of 3 months, you've probably built that habit of taking it every day and reminding yourself to take it every day with their reminders and stuff. And so not only have they been a bit more efficient on the fulfillment side and also AOV actually per order,
yes,
but also they've probably increased the chance that someone will stay as a subscriber because they've used it for 90 days, not 30 days.
Yeah.
Which is what most subscriptions do.
Yeah. I mean, with subscriptions and supplements, especially, like it's hard to like know if you're going to stick around and consume it. Which is why, like, reorder reminders, even just like one of the simplest things you could do is just send an email or, an SMS every so often. Email you can kind of get away with doing every day. SMS, probably much more sparingly since the costs are much, much higher. Just to remind the user just to take it. And then, I think the best brands that do those sorts of things, if you're going to take a supplement, there's probably some sort of specific change that you're going after. Maybe it's weight loss. Maybe I just want to feel better. Maybe I'm trying to, hit a new goal in the gym when it comes to my lifts, like all these sorts of things. The ones that do really well are the ones that optimize every part of this. So it's like, yes, they've on the front end, you've got your 3xing AOV, you're reducing your shipping costs. Like dimensional weight is something people don't think about. It's not just how much something weighs, but how much space it takes in a box that, factors into how much you're going to ship it. So you're reducing, your shipping costs there. And then you layer in like, hey, here's reminders. Here's like things that can support you on whatever journey it is that you acquired the customer on. And you can, for height, for let's say it's a daily multivitamin that's like covers a bunch of different things. Like it doesn't just, you can acquire customers for different reasons as well. It could be I just want to feel better. It could be, I'm trying to be stronger in the gym. It could be, I'm an active mom that's trying to get back. Like there's so many different ways you can kind of frame it. As long as you make content that's contextual to those specific cohorts, you actually you overachieve.
Yeah, I think actually what they did, maybe not cohort specific, but they definitely had some sort of, when you're taking heights daily, this is the progress you will see. You get a lot of this with kind of stopping smoking, stopping drinking.
Yes.
After one day, this is what will happen. After 7 days, this is what happens to your body.
Yeah.
And like more and more and more. And that's kind of what they did, but obviously the other way. They say, after 30 days, you should be more focused. You should be feeling a bit more focused. After 60 days, this, and 90 days. So they kind of primed you with that. Like, not only, like, that's why you should buy 90 days. And this is why you should keep using it, because you have to do that for 90 days to really get all the benefits. And then obviously, if you do start to feel those benefits, you're just gonna stick with it.
Yeah. I do want to just really mention to everyone that's listening on the audio and not the video that as Will was saying, stop smoking, I was actively putting in more nicotine. So don't do what I do, kids. So if you're listening, don't give yourself a crippling nicotine addiction late in life or later in life, as I have done so this year. But that is, you hit the nail on the head. Don't smoke or consume nicotine is my PSA.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much. So I guess do you want to give us a bit about Replo? Like where does Replo fit into this?
Sure.
And how can everyone get in touch with you if they want to check out?
Absolutely. So a couple different ways. We've got two core products. So the first one, which is like the one that's been out for several years now, is our Shopify theme builder. So you can build, it's a drag and drop builder. You can build pages, you can build home pages, you can build product pages, blog pages. When you hit publish, it goes directly into your Shopify store. So whatever your Shopify store URL is, boom, you got it. This is what gets used the most. This is really great. I mean, like we've got companies like Hexclad that use this. We've got brands that are fresh that have built their entire Shopify theme on the free Don 2.0, and then they build on top of Replo. So like, if you wanted like complex design that previously would have cost you anywhere from 30 grand to 300 grand to execute, you can do that for a couple $100, which is really great. And so that's improved like the core site experience through a Shopify theme builder. And then specifically for the folks that are heavy on the acquisition stuff, we have a new AI builder where it's chat interface, pulls in all your information from Shopify as well, and it goes to your Shopify checkout. But you can just be like, hey, I really love this other person's page, paste in that URL, recreate it for my brand. We pull in all of your brand styles, colors, imagery, etc., and your product information as well. So, and what's really fun about this is like literally in 10 minutes, less than 10 minutes, you can get fully set up and live. And the AI product we get, like you can publish for free. So I would highly recommend. It's replo.app, replo.app. Go check it out. You can free to try. It's great to mess with. And again, you're spending all this money, time, and energy trying to get this traffic to your website. Send it to a better place. Have a more consistent, more high converting funnel. You genuinely just make more money when you put in the effort to do that.
Yeah, awesome. All right, thanks so much, Sanjay.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you.